If you're looking to build a career in web development, this is your first and probably most important checkpoint. So let's map out the absolute fundamentals of JavaScript together.
So, what is JavaScript really? Well, when you get right down to it, it's the language that brings websites to life. If HTML is the skeleton of a web page and CSS is the skin and the clothes, then JavaScript, that's the nervous system. It's what makes everything move, react, and feel truly interactive. Every developer's journey needs a map. So let's place this core knowledge right at the very beginning of your roadmap. Trust me, getting a solid handle on these first steps is absolutely key to everything that comes next. To really get the hang of JavaScript, we first have to understand how it's structured. Think of it like learning the basic grammar of a new language before you try to write a novel. The most basic unit in JavaScript is something called a statement. And really, that's just a fancy word for a single instruction. Just like a sentence tells you something in English, a statement tells the computer exactly what to do, one clear step at a time. Now this right here highlights a habit that separates beginners from professionals, writing clean, readable code. Sure, JavaScript will let you cram multiple statements onto one line, but the best practice is crystal clear, one instruction per line. And this isn't just about being neat, it's about making your code easy to maintain for your future self and easy to understand for anyone else you might work with. And here's another essential tool for your toolkit, comments. See those 2 forward slashes? Anything after them on a line is completely ignored by the computer. Think of them as notes you leave for other humans, or more often than not, for yourself 6 months from now. They're crucial for explaining why your code does what it does. All right, our next checkpoint is learning your very first command. How do you actually see the output of your code? This is where the developer console comes into play. The command you are going to use constantly, and I mean constantly, is console.log. Think of it as your microscope for looking inside your program. It lets you print any value or any message to the browser's developer console. This is the standard, essential tool for checking your work and hunting down those tricky bugs. So, you can give the computer instructions. That's great. But how do you get it to actually remember information? Well, that brings us to our next checkpoint on the roadmap, storing information with variables. And this brings up a really fundamental question, right? How do programs remember things from one moment to the next? If you tell it a user's name, how does it hold on to that piece of information for later? The answer is variables. And honestly, the best way to think of a variable is just as a labeled box. You give the box a name, say username, and then you put a piece of information inside it, like the name Alice. From then on, you can just refer to the box by its label to get the information back out, or even to change what's inside. It's that simple. In modern JavaScript, you're mainly going to use 2 keywords to create these boxes, let and const. Let creates a box whose contents you can change later on, but const, which stands for constant, locks that value in place. You can't reassign it. Now here's the pro tip. The professional standard is to always use const by default. This makes your code way more predictable and prevents accidental bugs. You should only switch to let when you know for a fact that a value needs to change. And just like that, you're on your way. Your JavaScript roadmap has officially begun with these foundational yet powerful concepts. So let's do a quick review of the checkpoints we've just passed. We started with the what. JavaScript is the language that makes the web interactive. Then we looked at the how, structuring our code with statements and adding clarity with comments. We covered your most essential tool, console.log, for seeing what your code is doing. And finally, we established how to store information using variables with let and const. These really are the foundational building blocks for your entire journey ahead. This is Developer Roadmaps. Map your path, build your career.